There is a huge problem with the new Ford Maverick. Honestly, it's more than just one, 7 to be exact. Let me explain. Number 1. Safety. The first one is, and honestly, the obvious one is this. Over the past year, the Maverick has been through some real roller coasters, hitting a few bumps with a total of 6 recalls that sent shockwaves through the community, especially on the safety front. One of the big-ticket items catching everyone's attention was a hiccup flagged by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration concerning a glitch in the side curtain airbags. Imagine airbags deciding to take a day off when they're needed most. But hey, kudos to Ford for jumping right into the action when this hit the fan last summer. But this recall had a major footprint, affecting a whopping 65,000 Mavericks out there cruising the streets. Talk about a wide net. Ford didn't waste a second though, putting the pedal to the metal to ensure every Maverick owner stayed safe and sound. Now, here's the real gem. Amidst all the chaos, not a single report of accidents or casualties tied to these airbag shenanigans. Plus, Ford footed the bill entirely, no strings attached, swapping out those wonky airbags like they were going out of style. That's what I call stepping up to the plate. Sure, recalls can throw a wrench in your plans, but they're like those unexpected pit stops on a road trip, necessary for a smooth ride. But the thing is, this is not their first time making recalls, which is a good thing, but it shows that they are not focused on the production line, but instead, they just make headlines with recalls. And that is what they did on this next issue they faced. Number 2. Hybrid engine. Let me tell you about the buzz surrounding the Ford Maverick hybrid engine, and boy is it a roller coaster. Cast your mind back to May 2023 when Ford had us all holding our breath with a whopping recall of over 100,000 vehicles, spanning from the Maverick Hybrid to the Escape Hybrid and the Corsair plug-in hybrid. Why the uproar, you ask? Well, it turns out there was a lurking menace under the hood, a potential fire hazard. What caused the commotion? It seems there was a hiccup in the engine manufacturing process, hinting at possible engine failures. Imagine the horror, oil and fuel vapor leaking out like a scene from a disaster movie, just waiting to ignite. Such a disappointment because this engine was really good, and it isn't all about flexing muscle, it's more about sipping fuel like it's fine wine at a fancy dinner party. Sure, it's got a decent 191 horsepower under the hood, but let's be real, where the Maverick Hybrid really shines is in the fuel economy department. We're talking a jaw-dropping estimated 42 miles per gallon in the city and 33 miles per gallon on the highway. That's like having a secret stash of fuel savings every time you hit the road, especially when you're stuck in that soul-crushing stop-and-go traffic. Now, if you happen to be a proud owner of a 2020 to 2023 Ford Escape, a 2022 to 23 Maverick Hybrid, or perhaps a 2021 to 23 Lincoln Corsair Grand Touring, you'll want to double-check if your ride made it onto the recall list. After all, it's better to be safe than sorry when it comes to hitting the road. But the issues don't just stop here. Number 3. Fuel tank. Oh boy, buckle up for this wild ride. So picture this, the 2021 Ford Maverick hit the scene with all the buzz and excitement you'd expect from a brand new model. But guess what? There were some hiccups along the way. We're talking leaks, and not just any leaks mind you, but fuel tank leaks. And get this, it affected a whopping 53% of the Mavericks churned out between May and October 2021. Now hold on to your seats folks, because here's the kicker. These links weren't playing favorites. No, they hit both the hybrid models and those souped-up turbocharged 4-cylinder EcoBoost engines. So what went wrong? Well, it turns out there were these tiny, sneaky holes in the fuel tanks, and it was all thanks to a little mishap during the installation of those cool spray-in bed liners, a must-have for many truck enthusiasts. The supplier Ground Effects accidentally played darts with the fuel tanks while drilling for the bed liner application. Can you imagine the chaos? It's like trying to paint your bedroom walls and accidentally splattering paint all over your brand new carpet. Not exactly the makeover you had in mind, right? Ford swooped in like a knight in shining armor to save the day. What did they do? They slammed down the recall hammer and offered to swap out those faulty fuel tanks. And the best part? Once again, they footed the bill, no questions asked. Talk about customer service done right. So, what's the moral of the story, you ask? Well, this car has a lot of issues, and it doesn't stop there. Number 4. Brake problems. Oh boy, hold on to your seats for this wild ride, folks. We've got another recall on our hands, and it's like navigating a roller coaster of surprises. This time, the culprit? A sneaky little gremlin is hiding out in the software that's supposed to keep your trailer brakes in check. And guess what? It's got its mischievous hands on nearly 400,000 Ford vehicles. Yeah, you heard that right. We're talking fan favorites like the trusty Maverick, the iconic F-Series trucks, and their SUV counterparts, the Expedition and Navigator. Picture this nightmare scenario. You're all geared up, hitched to your trailer and ready to hit the road for an epic adventure. But then, bam! Disaster strikes. You slam on the brakes and what do you know? Those all-important trailer brakes decide to clock out on an unscheduled vacation. Not exactly the boost of confidence you want when you've got precious cargo in tow, right? But that is not all. Number 5. Brake lights. Now, you know, when you're breaking new ground in tech, there's always a chance of hitting a few bumps along the way. But who would have guessed that the first hiccup would be a wild case of glitchy brake lights? There was some serious misbehavior in the brake system's control unit, causing those taillights to kick into gear all on their own. Can you imagine cruising down the street, doing your thing, only to have your rear light start playing red light and green light, completely unprovoked? Naturally, this poses a serious safety risk, especially when it comes to meeting federal safety standards. So what's the deal with this light show gone haywire? Well, folks, there's still a bit of a head-scratcher. But here's the kicker: a staggering 11,110 Mavericks found themselves in need of a little recall magic to tame this unruly situation. Now I know all of this is enough to make the Maverick a cause for concern, but we're not finished with the issues. Number 6. Rear seats. A new twist has emerged. This time, the spotlight shifted away from the roaring engine and fuel system quirks, landing squarely on a pivotal safety system: the rear seat belts. A startling revelation surfaced, hinting that in some Mavericks, the rear seatbelt buckles weren't snugly anchored to the floor assembly. Picture that. Seatbelts, the ultimate guardians of safety, playing a game of hide-and-seek with their anchorage. This unsettling discovery sent shockwaves through the automotive community. Imagine hurtling into a collision, counting on your trusty seatbelt, only to find it as secure as a wobbly chair. And it wasn't just the Maverick grappling with this predicament. Reports also surfaced regarding the 2021 Mustang Mach-E. It was like a double whammy of safety concerns, hitting Ford aficionados right in the gut. Needless to say, this bombshell news cast a shadow over the Maverick's otherwise promising debut, leaving enthusiasts on the edge and demanding answers. But now, let's get into the last but not least. Number 7. Transmission issues. Folks who've hopped behind the wheel are raising their voices about some rough shifting, turning what should be smooth sailing into a bit of a bumpy ride, especially when stepping on the gas or easing off. What's causing this issue? Well, the finger-pointing game is in full swing. It could be something as basic as fluid levels not playing nice, or maybe the clutch components are feeling a bit too worn out, adding some unwanted friction to the mix. But hey, let's not forget about the possibility of the transmission's brain, its software needing a bit of a tune-up to get things back on track. But wait, there's more gloom in the forecast. Some Maverick Mavens have noticed a little hesitation when they give the gas pedal a good press. Talk about throwing a wrench in the works. This delay not only messes with the car's pep, but also raises some safety concerns and a fair bit of irritation. Now, what's behind this lag? It could be the ECU begging for a software refresh, or those sensors sending out mixed signals. And worst case scenario, we might be looking at some serious wear and tear inside the transmission itself. Yikes! Number 8. Solution on the newer models. With all the information and the headlines, it looks like Ford's rolling out some serious upgrades for the new model, swooping in to tackle those safety concerns head-on. They're tinkering with everything from safety tweaks to engine components and software for the hybrids. And that dreaded fuel leak issue? Cross your fingers, folks, because it seems Ford's tightening the screws on quality control to ensure it's a one-time blip on the radar. So what are we saying? Don't buy this model? Well, think about it. What kind of guarantee do we have that they've truly solved their issues? We are still waiting for them to say something. As for the nitty-gritty details of these upgrades, we're all ears for the official reports and reviews to spill the beans. We just know that they are reportedly working to fix them. But here's the kicker, folks. All these fancy upgrades don't come without a price bump. Buckle up, because even the 2023 Ford Maverick is packing some serious punch in the wallet department, with a range of prices tailored to your heart's desire, depending on the trim level and options you fancy. Kicking things off at a cool $24,170, the XL trim beckons to the budget conscious, though it might skimp on a few creature comforts that'll leave you yearning for more. Stepping up your game to the XLT trim for around $24,500 gets you some sweet perks like 17-inch aluminium wheels, cruise control for those leisurely drives, a power lock for the tailgate, and power exterior mirrors for that extra power. It's the sweet spot between bang for your buck and luxury amenities. But wait, there's more. For those willing to splurge a bit more, the cream of the crop awaits with the Lariat trim, clocking in at approximately $28,000. Brace yourselves for a premium experience like no other, complete with additional deluxe features and a touch of refinement that'll have you feeling like royalty on the road. But even with all these, the Maverick is only one of the top 2 trucks in this segment, so people would still be tempted to buy the new model. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.